My sister teased me that my online dating partner was a ghost fire yellow hair. A perfect match for a scum like me. At the end of the college entrance examination, I took the second place in the province with 721 and shared the interview with the first. Looking at this 185 big handsome guy with silver hair in front of me, I was silent. Isn't this my yellow-haired boyfriend? No, this hair of yours. How come it still has a faded color? Ryan's lips hooked and he smiled at the camera. Tsinghua or Peking University? I'll listen to her. Of course. Anyway, someone said we're perfect for each other. The day after the college entrance examination, I bought a second-hand electric donkey and started running errands to save up for my tuition. I didn't expect the first order to be delivered to my sister's head. The one who opened the door was Jason, the school bully, who was surprised to see me, but also vaguely disliked me. Arya, why are you doing this? My half-sister Stella was behind him, covering her lips in mock surprise. Sister, even if you're not good at studying, it's still better to work in an electronics factory than running errands. How hard is it to work in the sun and wind? Inside the luxuriously decorated living room, a dozen or so students looked at me with different expressions. I ignored them and handed over the flowers. Please sign for them. I have another order to deliver. Not hitting me. Stella seemed a little disappointed and deliberately raised her voice. Sister, aren't you going to go home to live even after the college entrance exams? I stared at her. Sorry. I'm not used to living in a nanny's room. Stella's face instantly turned ugly. When my mom died unexpectedly before the entrance exams, my father, Mr. Wilson, whom I had never met before, showed up and brought me back from the village to his villa, letting me make do with that small room. I didn't live there and chose to stay at the school. Only I had forgotten that the Lin family had more than one house. This big flat in front of me was decorated romantically, and it looked like a princess room for Stella. Jason immediately came out to round up the scene. A bouquet of roses in both hands. A face of deep love confession. Stella, today is your 18th birthday. Happy birthday. And, actually, I've been in love with you for a long time. Stella was shocked and delighted, and blushed shyly as many of her classmates could. She glanced towards me. Sister, you don't mind, do you? TSK. Wasn't it just because Jason biked me to the hospital once when I got sick and had to go to the emergency room before the exams? After that time, everyone said that I had a crush on Jason, and now it seems that Stella thinks so too, and wants to use the opportunity to assert her sovereignty. I waved my hand lazily. Please don't say such things in the future. What if my boyfriend misunderstands? Stella let out a giggle and scoffed. Asking, you mean, your online dating partner with dyed yellow hair? I do have a boyfriend. I met him in a game, and then I added him to WeChat, and gradually talked to him more and more. And I thought he was a nice guy. The night my mom died, he stayed with me all night with his voice on. Then he became my boyfriend. Once when he sent me a message, Stella saw it. The avatar was a selfie of him on the side of the highway, wearing a black leather jacket, leaning against an old motorcycle holding his helmet, his yellow hair shining in the sun. After that, everyone knew I'd talked about a ghostly fire yellow hair. She said as if joking. I remember you said he is also this year's college entrance examination? I don't think one of you will be working in a factory and the other will be delivering food. A perfect match, right? I didn't bother to pay attention to her and turned around to leave the door. On my cell phone, I received a message from Ryan. The college entrance exams are over. Why haven't I seen you on the line? I joked. If I don't do well in the exams, I'm going to pick up garbage to support you. Ryan also laughed. How can a boyfriend let his girlfriend support him? Maybe if I do well in the exams, I'll support you instead. Half a month later, the results came out. The homeroom teacher called my dad, his voice trembling with excitement. 721. My dad was so excited. Stella did so well. She's never gotten 680 before. He teacher from Tingshua admissions office wants to talk to her face to face. Dead silence. I put down the porridge in my hand, tasteless lie. It's over. I really didn't do well. That's impossible. Stella's eyes wide and incredulously. How could she get such a high score? It must be a mistake. The homeroom teacher heard this and spoke with some displeasure. Second in the province. The teachers from King Bi are here. The principal personally confirmed the score. It can't be a fake. Stella's rankings have always been in the top 30 of her grade. This is the first time she has been reprimanded by her homeroom teacher. And her pretty face was red and white. Which was very exciting. In the end, my dad is a shrewd businessman. Quickly adjusted his mindset and laughed repeatedly. Good. Then we will wait at home. You and please meet the teachers at the hotel. I took the phone and emphasized with the class teacher. It's more convenient. After hanging up the phone, my dad immediately frowned. What's wrong with you? How dare you let the teachers from King Bi go to a hotel? Such a big place at home. It's not my home. So it's not convenient. I smiled politely at him, and pulled out an envelope and placed it on the table. I've come to have this meal with you today because I want to say goodbye to you. Thank you for taking me in these past few months. The money in this envelope is the money I saved from my odd jobs. So we don't owe each other anything from now on. My father was baffled. What do you mean? You've gotten tough. Haven't you? I'll see if you dare. I picked up my bag. I still have to see the enrollment teacher. I have to go first. After chatting with several teachers all afternoon, I picked up my cell phone again and saw dozens of missed calls from my dad. From nice to furious. And finally broke the defense. I ignored them all. In his eyes, I'm nothing more than a drag. If it wasn't for my mom, he would never have remembered I was his daughter. Now you want to say a few good words to get me to give him a face? Dream on. I scrolled through my address book and finally landed on Ryan's avatar. Should I share the news with him? I sent over a resigned emoji. I didn't do well on the test. Ryan seemed to be busy and it took several minutes before he replied. I did okay on the test. I'll just support you. I couldn't help but laugh. This guy. He's pretty confident in himself. But if I go to Beijing, won't it be hard to see each other in the future? I deliberated for half a day. Do you want to meet up? Ryan didn't reply for a long time. But the class group suddenly exploded. Crap. First-hand news. Our school is doing well. We've got the second best student in the province. Huh? Is it spreading that fast? I just clicked on it and saw that someone had tweeted Jason. Brother Zhang. Your goddess is great. The top of the list in the whole province. The group was in chaos. And Jason froze. What do you mean? The boy who first broke the news passionately opened the microphone. I went back to school in the morning. Passed by the office and heard the teachers mentioning that the province's second last name Lin. There's no one else but Stella. It's true. After I transferred here, Stella has been targeting me both openly and secretly. In order to keep her down, I've been keeping my scores around 500 on purpose. She was so proud of herself that she didn't bother with me after a few times of mocking me. Whenever we think of a school bully named Lin, she is the first person who comes to mind. Really? Stella's previous best score was only in the 20s in her grade. Has she exploded this time? This time she exploded? The college entrance exams are unpredictable. Why don't you let her overachieve? That's right. I heard that she scored over 700 points. That's amazing. Stella is pretty. Her family is rich. And she scored so well in this exam. It's really a good thing for Brother Zhang. We have to treat her. Everyone was talking about it. And soon they were already discussing where to go for dinner. Someone wondered. Hey, why hasn't Stella shown up? You should share such great news with us. Jason looked thoughtful. But he was actually pleased. She's probably busy. Didn't they say that the admissions teachers from Tingshua University had already gone to the school to block people? It's okay. You guys pick the place to eat. I'll talk to her later. Low key and with the unintentional show off. Well? But also show a hand of love. I watched with interest. I was actually wondering how Stella was going to treat me to this meal. Rion sent a message. Sure. You choose what you want to eat. I was excited to go searching. Ryan doesn't look like he's from a very good family. So I'd better pick something affordable and tasty. Accidentally, I shared a fried noodle store with the class group. The group exploded again. No way, Arya. You want to eat this? It's Jiang's treat. What are you saving him money for? Besides, it doesn't seem like something you should do. That's right. Stella hasn't even said anything yet. Jason chimed in. Arya, I remember you should have saved up some money from your previous job. So eat something nice. Really? Me? At this moment, a student suddenly posted a link. Our school's public website has posted a good news report. He also sent a string of firecrackers and fireworks. And the whole group was full of joy. Jason laughed. I should say, our school's efficiency is really high. Yes. This kind of happy event must be announced at the first time. Just after this sentence was sent out, someone from the back suddenly followed up with, No. Wait. This happy news, is it a mistake? Jason didn't realize the problem. What mistake? Let me see. I also clicked on the link to that public number. Huge poster. Congratulations. Congratulations to Arya, a senior at our school, who scored the second best score in the province with 721 points in the college entrance exam. Bright red and festive. My name stood out. For the whole group fell into an eerie dead silence. Jason was the first to get anxious. Why is this Arya's name? How can you make such a cheap mistake? I'm going to find old Ben. However, before he could ask for a result, another student trembled and sent a screenshot. It seems to be true. The old class just posted a friend circle. It's Arya. On that screenshot, the middle-aged man who was over 40 and already balding was incoherent with excitement. 721. Second in the province. My student Arya. It was followed by 3 thumbs up. Now even Jason closed his mic. Someone quietly muttered. No wonder she didn't reply when I just privately chatted with Stella to congratulate her. So it wasn't her. Jason was so self-absorbed that he actually directly AI'd me. Arya, this grade is really your own test? Full of questioning and skepticism. As if I was unforgivable and had made a big mistake. I didn't take the test. Did you? You. Jason was incredulous. If it's really you, why didn't you come out and say anything just now? I said sincerely. I don't think I did well in the exam. I don't want to talk. Jason. Crowd. I thought about it. Stella knows about this too. And she didn't seem to clarify just now. Dead silence. Stella finally couldn't sit still and was the first to come out and respond. I'm really sorry. I was just having dinner with my family and I just saw the news. That person isn't me. It's Arya. I haven't had a chance to properly congratulate you. A very innocent and sincere congratulatory look. Stella is well liked. And someone quickly came out to smooth things over. As if the misunderstanding and embarrassment just now didn't exist. The focus shifted to me again. Arya. You are awesome. How on earth did you get that score? That's just it. That's 2% more than usual. It's scary to think about. I heard that a teacher from Tingshua came to see you. What did they talk about? Tell us. You don't get this kind of experience. Some people were prying half-throatly, while others were sighing with amazement. No matter how sincere they were. This lively scene still made Stella uncomfortable. She suddenly said, Sister did so well in her exams this time. So I'm sure we'll have to organize a thank you banquet. Sis. Don't worry about the money. Dad will take care of it. Dad will take care of it. You're making decisions for me now? I didn't wait for my refusal. But Stella said curiously. By the way. Does your boyfriend know about this? By the way, your boyfriend will be very happy to hear this news. Why don't you invite him along? Oh, so he's waiting for me. I haven't even met Ryan yet. And I'm bringing him over to show them? That's funny. He's busy. He's not always available. It's true. Ryan is busy today. He always takes a long time to reply. Stella said, pretending to be nice. Are you worried that he won't be able to play with us when he comes over? No, it's not. We're all very nice people. And we won't discriminate against him because of his education or job. Just invite him. As your boyfriend. How can he be upset at such an important moment? Don't you think so? 5. I understand Stella's mind too well. It's just that she's not happy with my performance in the exam and wants to get back in other aspects. I've never had the chance to ask you about it. I haven't had a chance to ask you. How did you do in the exam? I didn't expect a rhetorical question to silence Stella. It took her a while before she perfunctorily said, it's not bad. I can't compare it with you. Sis. In the evening. My dad called again persistently. I answered it impatiently. And then I realized that Stella had misplayed in the college entrance examination. And had scored about 40 points less than usual. Now, she was saying goodbye to her ideal college for good. Arya. I heard from your homeroom teacher that the media is going to interview you tomorrow? My dad's tone was never so kind. The lodging outside is too bad. How about tomorrow Ed picks you up and brings you home? Ryan sent me a message. I'm sure the place you chose is delicious. This is the place. Above is a picture of the front of the fried noodle store. I was relieved to hear his tone of voice. So I smiled and replied okay. Listening to my dad still rambling on the other end of the phone. I interrupted him. So what you're saying is, let the media visit the nanny's room at your villa? My dad seemed to have expected me to mention this. And said in an indiscreet manner, don't worry about that. I've already asked the nanny to vacate the other guest room this afternoon. So, if you want, you can have Stella's room first. How generous. He could even give away his favorite daughter's carefully decorated room. Afternoon, so he already decided to do this as soon as Stella's grades came out? I tugged at the corner of my mouth. No need. I hung up the phone and blacked out all the irrelevant people before I started thinking about tomorrow's interview. Old Ben said that tomorrow's interview would be with a city TV station. And that they might also do an interview with the provincial scholar from Linchi afterward. Today, I heard the old class mention that the first one is from the 4th middle school in Linchi City. And the test was 726. 5 points higher than me. What a coincidence. Isn't it? I sent a message to Ryan. Ryan, I heard that this year's provincial top student is from your school? Ryan? He's a scum. So he probably won't have anything to do with this kind of academic god. However, if he can get this score, he must be the man of the hour in their school. Maybe he has heard of him. I think his name is Ryan. Do you know him? Ryan? Seeing that he didn't reply for a while, I secretly felt guilty. Would it hurt him too much to ask? After all, it's not appropriate to ask about another guy in front of his boyfriend. I immediately swore my loyalty. Dear Ryan, don't worry. No matter how many points that Ryan scored in his exam, he's still a piece of shit in my eyes. Ryan. 6. The next day's interview was a live broadcast. Specially arranged in front of the school. And the principal and the old class were all jubilant. The reporter held up the microphone. Arya's scan. I heard that your scores in the previous few monthly exams were really outstanding. But this time, you flew through the roof and got a high score of 721. Playing so well. Do you have any tips to share with us? I was about to say something positive when Stella's shout suddenly came from the side. Sis. Everyone turned their heads to look over. Stella came running quickly with red eyes. Sis. Did you black out Dad? He hasn't been able to contact you. So I had to come here to look for you. She took my hand. Sis. Dad neglected you before. But you scored over 200 more points than usual this time. And Dad is especially proud of you. We're all family. So why don't we just talk about any misunderstandings? The reporter was baffled. Stella seemed to have just noticed the presence of the reporter and the photographer, and covered her lips in surprise. No. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to bother you. You guys go ahead. Saying that, she took 2 steps back and left the camera. But this was a live broadcast. And the pop-up screen had already exploded. Crap. What's going on here? No way. The top scorer of the college entrance exam actually had her own father? I was going to say that this girl is quite cool and pretty. But she did this kind of thing? She's got no conscience. Right? That's right. What's the point of getting good grades if you're not a good person? Didn't you hear what the other girl said? She scored over 200 points more than usual on the college entrance exam. What kind of concept is that? Anyone who's taken the college entrance exam knows how hard it is. Right? Even if she overachieved. How could she score so much more? Who knows how she got the score? The principal and the homeroom teacher didn't expect this. And they both looked terrible. The old class scoffed. That Arya's situation is rather special. I took the microphone and looked straight into the camera. First of all, my high school grades are my own. If there are doubts about the fairness of the high school entrance examination, you can go to report and check. The principal read warmed right next to me. I twisted my head to look at Stella. Word for word. Secondly, I'm really not interested in the matter of being the half-sister of a girl who is only 4 months younger than me. Stella's expression changed. Lastly, it's really hard for me to build a deep father-daughter bond with a man I only met for the first time at the age of 18 in just a few months. Please go back and tell Mr. Wilson that I don't owe him anything. And please ask him not to disturb my life anymore. There was a dead silence. Even the reporter was winded and dumbfounded. Probably she couldn't have imagined that a good high school interview would involve such an ethical drama. Actually, what I want to say most is, I miss my mom. I curled my lips at the camera. And Ryan. Thank you. 7 Unsurprisingly, the interview blew up. Not only the class group, but also the internet was in an uproar. The live broadcast was edited into a video and became popular. The comments section was wonderful. What kind of melon is this? Watching an interview with a school bully can still get to such a powerful and wonderful content. The difference between the 2 daughters is only 4 months. This father is quite fancy. Arya was indeed transferred here a few months before the college entrance exam, and was brought back by her dad after her mom died in an accident, testified a student from the same school. However, she has been living in the school. And then after the entrance exam, she went out to rent a room, and even ran errands on the side to earn money. No. Right? The donkey necklace the other girl was wearing cost over $10. And her own sister was reduced to doing this kind of hard work? Is there something wrong with this family? Arya used to go to the same township high school as me. She was always a good student. When her dad's secretary came to take her to another school, the teachers were upset for a long time. If her dad had known her better, he wouldn't have been so surprised by her grades. Right? Oh. He had a good interview. And this sister rushed up and slandered him without saying a word. Isn't that just jealousy? Not being able to see that he's doing well? I'm the only one who's curious about who Ryan is. The one the pretty school teacher mentioned. Stella quickly became a target. And my dad was also scolded. And I didn't have time to pay attention to that because Ryan forwarded me a video. Heck. It was the same video of me being interviewed. I sweated a handful of times. What happened? To say the least. I kind of hid it from him. He knew I grew up in the village with my mom and took care of me in every way. In the middle of it, there was a casual conversation about grades. And he said he skipped class. And listen to the meaning of that. He is not interested in the class. From time to go out to play. I didn't go on. Grades and character are not linked. And this did not affect my relationship with him. I just didn't realize that we got together later. I thought about that scenario when I said those words to the camera. I had a sweaty hand. deliberating on how I was going to explain it to him to better get him to accept it. I didn't realize Ryan's first sentence would be, "You went on an errand to make money?" Me. No. Isn't this the right time for you to ask me why I've kept this from you for so long? I'm embarrassed. I've only been doing it for less than a month. But it's pretty lucrative. Ryan, why didn't you tell me you were short of money? Do you really think of me as your boyfriend? Me. What's with this inexplicable feeling of being angry? More importantly, why did I feel so weak when he asked? I typed and deleted. Wanting to say it, you're not rich. And that every penny you have is also precious. But also felt that it seemed like a bit of a look down on people when I said it. I didn't wait for me to speak. He sent another direct sentence, "I'm going to look for you on the high-speed train tomorrow." Ryan had never spoken to me in such a tone. I was at a disadvantage. So naturally I had no room to retort. Huh? Oh, okay. Okay. Just after I posted that, I got a message from the class group that there's going to be a thank you party tomorrow. Jason was the one who organized it. He even called me specifically. And his tone was a rare whisper. "Arya, Stella knows she's wrong. She's been crying all day. She wants to apologize to you tomorrow. So give her a chance. Okay? Apologize. Apologize." If she hadn't been humiliated by the internet, would she have lowered her head? However, old Ben has taken good care of me. And the interview before probably made his head spin. So I feel bad for not going to the thank you banquet. I'll be there. After hanging up the phone, I remembered that Ryan was also arriving tomorrow. But his high-speed train is at noon, so he shouldn't delay the dinner in the evening. The next day, it was raining heavily. Ryan's high-speed train was delayed. This time, I waited until 500 p.m. I could only pack up my things and go to Scholar's house first. When I arrived at the box, it was already full of people, chattering very lively. The old class saw me on the enthusiastic wave. Other people in the class look at me in the eyes is also very subtle. I ignored them all and went over to say hello to old Ben. "I'm sorry I'm late. It's not easy to ride the bike with the water on the road," I said. "No. I'm not late." Old Ben laughed. "It's good that you're here." In the afterglow, Stella was sitting beside Jason, not saying a word. In the past, she would have been the star of the show. But today she was very low-key, like an eggplant that had been hit by frost. Jason handed over the menu and said with a smile, "Ms. Lee, see what you like to eat. Feel free." Someone beside him muttered in a low voice, "The menu here is expensive. Brother John is so generous." Old Ben also waved his hands. "You guys eat. You guys eat. I can afford to treat you teachers to a meal." Jason laughed. "This is my uncle's store, and he's very happy to know that you and your classmates are here. He said he would treat you to this meal. So don't refuse." With that, he looked at me again. "By the way, Stella specially ordered a bottle of red wine to make a formal apology to you. Let's forget about what happened before, shall we?" The crowd whispered again, and looked at Jason and Stella with even more envy. Wow. What kind of drama is this? I said this meal is so special for Brother John. So it's all for Stella. That's right. She's so lucky to have such a handsome and rich boyfriend who cares so much about her. Stella is also very good. But it's all a matter of luck when it comes to relationships. I'd be so happy if I had a boyfriend like that. Stella's face finally got better. Obviously these words made her very happy. She asked the waiter to open the 5-figure bottle of red wine, poured 2 glasses, and handed one of them to me. "Sister, I was wrong about what happened before. It's just that everyone is here today. So as a witness, I'll formally say to you, I didn't take her bottle of wine. Just looked at her quietly." Sure enough, she followed up with, "As long as you help clarify and restore my honor, we'll put aside our old grudges. Okay?" There was no trace of apology on her exquisitely made-up face. All there was the unwillingness in the bottom of her eyes. Obviously, if she hadn't been scolded so badly, she would never have come to apologize to me. I smiled. I didn't want to do anything. After all, I'm going to Beijing to go to college soon. We won't be in the same school and won't be able to see each other for a few days. Stella's smile froze on her face. But she still reluctantly spoke. It's good that you promised to help. I interrupted her. A favor is a favor. I interrupted her. It's fine to help. But I just can't figure out what I need to clarify. Was it a mistake about your birthday? Or something else? Stella's face hardens. These words were like another reminder to the crowd that her existence was hard evidence that my dad was cheating on me within his marriage. Jason pulled Stella behind him and looked at me with wrinkled eyebrows. His tone reprimanded. Arya, how could you do this? Stella is your own sister. Can you really bear to see her being cyber-violated all the time? I reminded. During the live interview. It seems like she entered the country on her own accord. Jason took a deep breath and slowed his tone. Just do me a favor. I feel ridiculous. Who does he think he is? And give him face? Just then, my cell phone suddenly rang. It was Ryan's call. I clicked on it. Hello? There was some noisy garbled sound coming from the other end of the phone. But the moment that low, clear teenage voice came out, everything seemed to subside. I'm here, he said. I froze. Then find a place to rest first. I've finished eating on my side. I'll be right there. With that, I started to walk out the door, not expecting to be pulled by Jason. Want to leave? Arya, if you don't settle this matter today, you won't be able to find an excuse to leave. Ryan's voice instantly turned cold. Did someone come after you? It's nothing. Just a little problem. Afraid that he would be worried. I explained again in a low voice. Don't worry. The teacher and classmates are there. I'll go over to you soon. After saying that, I hung up the phone and shook off Jason's hand. However, he didn't shake it away. Jason was very insistent. Arya, it's just a little favor. You're not willing to help? Stella bit her lip and pulled on his sleeve. Forget it. My sister doesn't like me, so I can't force her to do this kind of thing. But those people on the internet are so nasty. Jason seemed determined to stand up for Stella. Stella was so moved that her eyes reddened. It's okay. Those irrelevant people can't hurt me. As long as you're here, it's okay. The gas stalemate. Old Ben couldn't stand it anymore. Hey, Jason, you let go of my hand. A cold and indifferent voice came. I froze. This voice, why does it sound familiar? Many people in the box looked in the direction of the box door and froze in unison. And a few girls even turned red. I turned back in confusion. With just this glance, I immediately understood why they reacted this way. Handsome men. Big handsome guy. The door to the room was opened at an unknown time. And a long and straight teenager lazily carried his school bag in one hand and stuck his pockets in the other. Standing there in a loose manner. The light in the corridor fell against his body. Even the simplest white t-shirt and black sweatpants could not cover the perfect body proportion. Not to mention that overly cool and handsome face. The short silver-colored hair that should have been exaggerated. While that perfect features and smooth jawline. It was so complimentary and handsome. Those narrow, dark eyes looked over and fixed on my face for a moment. Then gently raised his eyebrows. I only felt that my heart violently skipped a beat. Whispers came from behind me. Who is this? I don't know. But he's too handsome. I'm sure he's not from our school. But if I've seen him before, I'm sure I won't be able to forget him. I used to think Jason was already handsome enough. But this is a total contrast. Jason also heard the words. He cold face. Who are you? A teenager inclined his head and looked at him twice. His eyes were very light. The kind of look that only comes from not putting people in his eyes at all. Stella held Jason down and stepped forward, taking the initiative to ask. Hello, classmate. You're in the wrong room, aren't you? Her voice was sweet, soft, and carried the unique shyness of a teenage girl, as well as a hint of helplessness. Haven't seen her like this in front of any boy much. It was true that face value was king. But this obviously made Jason's face hard to bear. He didn't have the good sense to say, "Leave if you're going the wrong way." We didn't go the wrong way. The teenager hooked his lips and smiled. "I came to find my girlfriend." Saying that, his gaze fell on Jason's hand that was tugging on me, slightly narrowing his eyes. The curves of his lips arched with coldness. "One word at a time." I just said. "Let go of my girlfriend's hand." "Didn't you hear me?" 77. The scene froze. Everyone was baffled, and looked at me in unbelievable unison. I spoke tentatively. "Ryan?" He walked straight over to me. And Jason reflexively let go. The slightly cool touch came. A long, bony hand took mine. A gesture he could not have done more naturally when it was clearly the first time we'd met. He looked to the crowd, his posture falling. "Our Arya has so easily agreed to accompany me to dinner today. So, excuse me." Walking out of the restaurant. The rain had stopped and the night breeze was exceptionally cool. It wasn't until I sat down at the fried noodle store that I gradually came back to my senses. "What did you say?" He looked at me and laughed softly. I said, "What would you like to eat?" The tips of my ears were suddenly on fire. "Anything. A couple of their signature dishes are good. In fact, I thought Ryan should still be quite handsome. After all, he likes to play motorcycle. Casually clean up the temperament is also quite cool. But I really didn't expect him to be this handsome." Ryan, however, didn't have the awkwardness and shyness of a first-time meeting. And after ordering, he explained what happened just now. The high-speed train was delayed, and I got stuck in the traffic. So I was late. He also knew about this gathering, and it wasn't a surprise that he would find the place. "But how did you find that box of ours?" "By asking at the front desk." Ryan unwrapped the chopsticks and scraped the burrs off before handing them to me. "I was going to wait on the first floor." I could have guessed the rest without him saying it. It was because of that phone call that he chose to come straight up. I lowered my eyes slightly, still a little embarrassed as I remembered the scene from earlier. "Actually, I can fix it. They can't do anything to me. I'm not that easy to bully." Ryan was quiet for a moment and smiled. "I know our Arya is great. But it's also my first time to talk to someone. Letting people know that my girlfriend is being bullied right in front of me. Do I still want to be a part of it?" I couldn't help but laugh as well. The invisible layer of diaphragm disappeared in this instant. Because of this kind of dangling and heartwarming words. The day he confessed his love to me, he also said something like this. Gangly. Careless. But with a reassuring seriousness and promise. The steaming hot fried noodles were brought up. And I suddenly regretted it a little. This is a bit too simple. "I'm too busy today. I'll take you out for a nice meal some other time." I boasted nonchalantly. "I'll be your ground companion. You can choose whatever you want. Don't worry. I've got the money." Ryan laughed. "What if I eat all the money you make running errands?" I blurted out. "I have a scholarship. Roughly speaking, I can get a lot of money. At least it will cover my tuition for the next 4 years." Ryan's eyes flickered. I regretted it. It was inappropriate to mention grades to him. Seeing that he didn't say anything, I hastened to make up for it. That I've got a lot of time on my hands lately. And we've got a lot of fun places to go. Would you like to go? Anyway, it's always good to do the honors of a host. Ryan seemed to be interested and raised his eyebrows. Sure. Do you want to go to the Cloudy Mountains? I was stunned. It's a famous scenic spot on the outskirts of the city. With beautiful scenery. It's nice. Looks like you've already done a strategy. Huh? Arkmaster took a sip of tea, and naturally said. Didn't I promise you before to take you out to blow off some steam? I froze. Wait. That was indeed said. But at that time it was out of curiosity that I asked him if motorcycling was fun. And he said that he would have the opportunity to drive me along to experience it and have some fun in the future. Now this means. He shook the keys in his hand, a smile on his lips. I asked a friend to send the car over. It'll be here tomorrow. Wanna go watch the sunrise? I didn't realize Ryan had friends here. After dinner he sent me back to my place and said he was going to a friend's house to stay. I watched from the window as his back gradually disappeared into the night. And I was still in a trance. Ryan, it seems to be different from what I thought. But I know he is who he is. Casually clicking on the class group to see if they had already dispersed for dinner. I realized it was already 99. I casually scrolled up and fell silent. Because of the hundreds of messages. There was actually only one topic: crap. Arya has a stunningly handsome boyfriend. There were those who didn't go who were skeptical. Is it really that handsome? Those who went with a crazy output. Super handsome. It's amazing. I'm not jealous of her getting 700. But I'm really jealous of her eating so well. Me. A gossipy person asked strangely. But didn't Stella say before that Arya was talking about a ghost fire yellow spirit guy? The group was instantly dead silent and the atmosphere was awkward. Stella finally came out. Actually, this is the first time I've seen Arya's boyfriend. Although that boy has no money and doesn't really love to study. He's really handsome. No wonder Arya likes him so much. But Arya is going to school in Beijing. So I guess we'll be separated again. 13. These words seemed to be a compliment. But they were actually a scolding. It doesn't seem like it's anyone else's turn to worry about what's going on between me and my boyfriend. Does it? I typed out a line. Directing it to Stella. I sincerely suggest that you have this time. Or go to study the matter of volunteering. After all, a few dozen points less. The previous plan will have to be redone. Is not it? Stella shut up directly. The old class suddenly called. Arya. You don't have any plans for tomorrow, do you? At 10 in the morning. The provincial TV station is coming for an interview. So make some preparations. So early? I was a bit surprised. Didn't you say it would be a few days later? The top student from Lin she know. For middle school is the first one they're going to interview, right? I didn't expect that either. The people from the TV station just said that the provincial top scorer is here with us. So they decided to do an interview with you two together. How can this be? I couldn't help but mutter. This top student is quite a runner. The old class gave me a few more words of advice. We've chosen our school as the venue. So you have to be polite to them tomorrow. I know. Don't worry. After hanging up the phone, I became a little curious. I also wanted to see what kind of person had stepped on me. And next morning, I talked to Ryan about the interview. And then he showed up in his motorcycle downstairs from me. You're giving me a ride? Ryan braced his long legs on the ground and handed over a helmet. Do you mind? He didn't seem to mind that I had kept my grades from him. I smiled back. Sure. Half an hour later, we arrived at the entrance of the school and saw a crowd of people. A few of them carrying guns. I was dumbfounded. No, what's the big deal? Suddenly there was a shout from the crowd. Arya's here. The crowd turned around in unison. Their eyes glowing with gossip. Is that her boyfriend? I can't see his face with the helmet on. But his legs are really long. Theft. He actually came here in a broken motorcycle? Someone scoffed in a low voice. Even if he's handsome, he's still a ghostly yellow hair. What can he do? And Arya is really stupid to fall in love with this kind of person. That's right. Even though Stella didn't do as well as her. Her boyfriend is rich. And if Arya is with this kind of guy, she'll still have to eat food after she gets into Tsinghua University. Don't mention it. Arya was an errand boy before. It's not surprising that she's attracted to this kind of guy. They're perfect for each other. 14. I didn't care what they said about me. But Ryan must have heard them. Don't listen to them. I'll be out in a minute. Considering his outfit. I pointed to the guy next to me. Considering his outfit. I pointed to the milk tea store next door. Why don't you go over there and wait for me in the air conditioning? Ryan didn't seem to be angry and said, I'll go with you. As he unfastened his helmet. I'll go with you. I nodded yes after a moment's hesitation. He's not comfortable here by himself. And even though he's not a student at our school, it's vacation time now. So it shouldn't be a problem for me to take him in. He angled his helmet under his arm and casually jerked down his fine silver hair. The surroundings were noticeably quiet for a moment. Any words, in front of the absolute value of the face, are extremely pale. I don't know who quietly spoke up. Damn. So handsome. I'm willing to work to support him. Ryan, however, seemed to have long been accustomed to this kind of gaze. Did not care. Turned around and held my hand toward the front. The old class behind the crowd saw me and immediately waved. Hey. I'm coming. Reporters and cameramen followed and looked over. Only then did old Ben notice Ryan and I holding hands and winked at me. Goo. What an occasion. You've got to be more careful when you're showing off your love. The cameras are rolling. As expected. The reporter was shocked and hesitant to speak. These two people. Are they talking about? Old Ben coughed. Don't get me wrong. This boy is not from our school. This boy isn't from our school. He's one. The reporter looked at the two of us incredulously and muttered out of breath. The provincial top student and the provincial topper are a couple? Me. Everyone around us heard her remark as well and froze in unison. Old Ben froze and asked. What did you say? The reporter reacted as well. His eyes glittering with excitement. You guys don't know? He's Ryan. After a brief moment of dead silence, the crowd exploded right into a frenzy. Ryan? The province's top science student from the college entrance exam 726? No way. This. Who can tell me what's going on here? It's crazy. It's crazy. He's so handsome. And he's the best student? How can we live? I was also baffled. Slowly turning my stiff neck to look at the man beside me, as well as his exceptionally striking silver hair. How did this? It still has a faded color. My voice was so dry that I actually didn't know what to say. The teenager looked at me steadily, eventually revealing a helpless, gentle smile. Never figured out how to tell you. But there shouldn't be a better opportunity than this. He held out his hand. Introduce yourself. Ryan. Your boyfriend. 15. I don't remember much of what the reporter asked. Standing next to Ryan, I was still dizzy. He, on the other hand, answered the questions with ease. The reporter asked him what he was doing here. Ryan inclined his head in a rare moment of helplessness. The teachers from Peking University blocked me in the hotel in those 2 days. I didn't have much chance to check my cell phone. And it was hard for me to find the time to come here. Me. Oh, that's why he was so slow to reply that day. The crowd of reporters laughed. The top two in the province appeared together for an interview. So I knew it would make big news. Especially one by one. I can't believe you two are actually a couple. Can you share your love story with us? The reporter obviously felt that this point could be dug deeper. And his melon-eating heart was on his face. Have you guys discussed which university to go to? Ryan's lips curled up and he smiled broadly at the camera. Tsinghua or Peking University? Of course I'll listen to her. Anyway. Someone said that we were made for each other. Unsurprisingly. The interview caught fire as fast as it could. By then, Ryan and I had already arrived at the bottom of Yanzhou Mountain. I looked at the comment section, and my eyelids jumped hard. Because the number one hot comment on the top was actually, if I'm not mistaken, a motorcycle that the provincial scholar parked at the edge of the camera seems to be a Ducati. Priced from $1 million. Me. I jumped out of the car. Eyes wide open. Ryan fished me out. What's wrong? I suddenly felt hot even with the helmet in my arms. Your car. Is it that expensive? Ryan didn't expect me to ask that and smiled. Generally. Mostly I changed it myself and like it a bit more. I was silent. So all those years you weren't in class. You spent them playing with motorcycles and burning money? Ryan pulled me in front of him, moving carefully to help me put on my helmet. And seeing that I still hadn't said anything, asked a little hesitantly, "You're not going to leave me because of this, are you? You promised to watch the sunrise with me." Speechless. Really? Sometimes you just don't have anything to say to people like that. I resigned myself to getting into the car, and after a moment's hesitation, I wrapped my arms around his lean waist. He seemed to let out a low chuckle, his chest and stomach vibrating slightly, and I could even feel the tough, warm baby-ass through his thin shirt. I blushed. Ryan, come on. Ryan honestly doesn't lie to me. His car was really nice to ride in, and the wind in the mountains was exceptionally refreshing and freeing. The lush mountain forests continued to recede, and then rose and fell around the next bend in the road. When we reached the top, he took his jacket off and draped it over my shoulders. We both just sat there in silence. "What's on your mind?" he asked. I rested my cheeks, thinking Stella's probably been up all night. The class group had long been swept up by the motorcycle, and Ryan's GCSR report card. Stella had simply withdrawn from the group. I heard that after Ryan and I left the school, she and Jason had a big public fight, and it got so ugly that they broke up. Ryan raised an eyebrow. "But I was thinking about you." My heart skipped a beat, and I whipped my head around. Wasn't I right here? A warm skylight suddenly spilled down from the distant horizon. It was the sun coming up. The sunlight fell on top of the young man's clear, elegant and spontaneous face, as if it was gilded with a layer of gentleness. He suddenly said, "What I said today is all true." I froze. "What?" The corner of his lips slightly hooked. "Wherever you go, I will go." The moment the sun leapt out of the clouds, I finally gathered my courage and kissed. What I said was also true. Liking you is the coolest thing I've ever done.